Welcome to the 2020-2021 Federal Program Monitoring FPM Training presentation for FPM Review Coordinators. It has been designed specifically to address the needs of the LEAs that will be undergoing the telemonitoring review during the 2020-2021 FPM cycle year. Our experiences reinforce the need to start with the basics so that you can fully comprehend how the FPM structure is organized and implemented. So we begin this training in the fashion as if this were a recipe or a potluck or any other process that requires multiple ingredients to create a great product. We focus most upon those contributors to the potluck, like yourselves, that make the final product all that it can be. Please let us know if you have any questions after this session is over. Your review team leader can then follow up with you one-on-one. We expect to hear from you and your questions. Now we'll provide the general overview of the respective FPM process. The FPM purpose. CDE is charged by the U.S. Department of Education with the responsibility of ensuring that agencies are meeting specific legal requirements for the use of categorical funds. Determining compliance. FPM does not test for program quality, although certain items contained in a few instruments do require that programs be effective in meeting the needs of the students they serve. For example, the program instrument for English learners requires that EL students acquire English within a reasonable period of time. Another example is the compensatory education instrument, which requires that strategies used to meet the needs of high-risk students be effective as determined by the school site council. Not all legal requirements are tested during the FPM review. Each program determines which items will be tested and included in their instruments. The instruments are then reviewed by our legal office before they are published and posted on the CDE web. Telemonitoring review. When we say telemonitoring reviews, we mean reviews that are entirely conducted online through the CDE monitoring tool. Evidence is uploaded into CMT to demonstrate compliance across all programs conducting aspects of the review. Interviews are coordinated and conducted via Zoom with categorically funded personnel. Interviews are also conducted via Zoom with the ELAC, with DLAC, and school site council. Interviews may also be conducted with program knowledgeable personnel. Role of participants in the FPM process. Now, before where I explained the approach is like a potluck, this is where we will focus our attention on that contributory nature of each of the participants to the end product. The FPM Review Coordinator. In CMT, the LEA or district is referred to as the agency. This is because the tool is sometimes used to review entities that are not agencies. However, the FPM process only reviews LEAs, so that is the term we will primarily use here. The FPM Review Coordinator, sometimes referred to as the LEA Review Coordinator or Agency Coordinator, also serves as the primary contact for the agency on all aspects involving the planning and implementation of the FPM review. In the past, CDE was able to assign users through user management in the monitoring tool. Now, we are only able to assign the LEA coordinator, who has the district administrator role. The LEA coordinator then assigns other users to the tool. More on that later and in the CMT training. This person, the FPM Review Coordinator, also serves as the primary contact after the review related to the unresolved findings. It is critical, therefore, that the FPM Review Coordinator serve as a funnel through which all ingoing and outgoing exchanges with CDE flow. The FPM Review Coordinator's roles too. The CMT is the legal record of the review. It is important that review activity be documented well there. Comments are the primary way that happens. Sometimes a comment can serve as evidence to meet a program requirement. It is very important to monitor them closely throughout the entire review process. Now, let's explore the role of another key contributor to the potluck aspect of the FPM review, and this is the review team leader. The review team leader, or RTL, similarly serves as the principal contact for the CDE on all FPM-related matters and communication exchanges. It is the role of the review team lead to monitor the progress of each review. This includes reminding reviewers when they haven't posted comments by the respective comment deadline, or responding to comments posted or evidence uploaded by the agency. It is also the review of the RTL to ensure that the FPM process is carried out and consistent with the established FPM policies. During the FPM review, the RTL works closely with their counterpart, the respective FPM review coordinator, serving as the facilitator of the process. Additionally, the RTL chairs all of the scheduled interviews that may be listed on the daily schedule. During the telemonitoring reviews, the RTL arranges for any necessary conference calls between the LEA and the FPM that may be established within via Zoom to respond to the agency's request for clarification regarding potential findings. The RTL's role is parallel to the agency review coordinator's role. CDE program reviewers are another participatory ingredient to this entire potluck affair. The CDE program reviewer has the responsibility to make a determination whether or not an agency meets federal requirements. The judgments that the respective reviewers render regarding compliance is based upon a combination of high levels of program expertise by the reviewers, guided by instruments that are vetted through our legal department. Let's review FPM timelines. The following slides cover timelines associated with the Federal Program Monitoring Review. The participant will, after this presentation, understand the time-specific important events that are correlated with the FPM review process from the beginning to the end. So just as if there are recipes, there are also ingredients that are based on a timeline for this potluck affair. And we'll start out at the latest of the timelines, and that is 90 to 60 calendar days before the respective onset of the review. The single most common comment we have heard when interviewing FPM coordinators after the review is, "I wish I had started earlier." Please be familiar with the program instruments for the programs being reviewed. We ask that very early on, ensure documentation procedures are in place to be able to provide required evidence. One recommendation is to develop a naming convention for your documents. This is the #1 tip we have received from other LEA coordinators who have had successful reviews. Design naming conventions for your evidence and keep a log of what you have gathered and uploaded to the documents section of CMT. It will make the linking and certifying process much smoother. Involve appropriate team members and assign roles. While we do respect the Herculean effort that the agency review coordinator undertakes, please, sharing is caring in this entire affair. Again, involve appropriate team members and assign roles. Be proficient in using CMT. Contact program reviewers with any program questions about instrument items or evidence request. Contact the review team lead with any questions about the review process or CMT. Also, consider opportunities to schedule board meetings, school site council meetings, etc. During the review dates. It makes for an easier and smoother transition in the event that a finding may be reduced in number and size. "60 to 30 calendar days before the review." We're getting a little closer. Continue your team's process of responding to specific evidence requests in CMT by uploading and linking all evidence and certifying all evidence request responses in CMT. This makes your evidence available to the program reviewers to review. Please stay on top of all comments that are exchanged back and forth between CDE and your district, especially as it gets closer to the review. CMT has no auto notification feature when comments are added or evidence certified. So please, sometimes you may need to let your reviewer know via a quick email that there is a new information in CMT that has been provided. Copy your RTL on those messages so that we can follow up. Now, we're getting a little closer. 30 calendar days before the review. Please, we ask that you meet the initial 30-day evidence upload deadline. All evidence must be available to the reviewers by this date. If possible, try to upload, link, and certify your evidence in CMT before the deadline. This gives the program reviewers more time to give you feedback on your evidence, which gives you more time to respond to reviewer feedback and upload evidence to prevent findings. Work with the RTL to coordinate the daily schedule, logistics, etc. Now, 15 calendar days before the review. We ask that you please continue to monitor CMT regularly for feedback from reviewers, including status changes and comments. Respond to the reviewer's request in CMT by posting comments and providing evidence, and ensure your team is prepared for the activities required during the respective review dates. Now we will review a couple of daily review schedules. The following slides cover daily schedules during the telemonitoring review. The number of days of a review varies from 3 to 5 or more. Sometimes they could be 2 or 3 weeks. This sample is based on a 3-day review. Telemonitoring daily schedule. The next few slides address the telemonitoring review. Because documentation is the only evidence being reviewed, as well as occasional interviews, it is important to be thorough and timely in uploading, especially the documentation to CMT. All information relevant to results must be documented within CMT. This includes any phone calls or emails. CMT contains the permanent record of the FPM review. While we do recognize that communiques may exist outside of CMT in the form of telephone calls or emails, we courteously request that those communiques outside of CMT be memorialized so that another pair of eyes can follow the respective communication. The agency will have a deadline of 3 p.m. to upload all additional evidence. Telemonitoring daily schedule. The RTL must send the agency review coordinator the team's preliminary findings by 9 a.m. on the final day of the review. The agency reviews the preliminary findings and determines if clarification of the findings is required. If a clarification conference call is necessary, the agency requests the call by 10 a.m. If a request for clarification is made, a telephone conference via Zoom will be scheduled with the district that same day. It must occur on that day because the NOF must be issued on the final day of the review. After the conference call, the reviewers and the RTL will finalize the findings, and the NOF will then be issued, and a copy will be emailed to the respective agency review coordinator. The RTL will cover the steps required by the district to resolve the findings, either during the clarification call, if one is held, or in a subsequent call to the agency review coordinator. The next slides are screenshots of the telemonitoring daily schedule. This is a screenshot of the telemonitoring daily schedule day 1. You'll see from this, we have a name of the sample school, as well as the sample address, just to keep with all the formalities. And therein, you'll see also times that may be scheduled for interviews with staff funded through some of the respective categorical programs. Telemonitoring daily schedule for the exit day. The RTL will provide you with a daily schedule that looks like this at least 10 days before the review starts. Many of you may have already been contacted by the respective RTL, and in those fruitful conversations, aspects of the development of a schedule may have been the crux of those communications. Resolving a finding. While all 3 aspects of the review are critical, the first step in the resolution process is to refer to the NOF and read the written finding. The finding will contain all 3 required components. First is a brief statement of the legal requirement. Second, the evidence the reviewer found that led them to the conclusion that your agency did not meet the legal requirements will be found in the second paragraph. Finally, steps you must take to resolve the finding will exist within the third portion of the NOF. This last part of the finding should give you precisely what the reviewer must see to resolve the finding. When submitting evidence to resolve a finding, upload the evidence to CMT and post a comment alerting the reviewer that said evidence has been provided. Because there are no auto notifications in CMT to advise us when new comments or evidence is added, please follow up with a quick email to the reviewer and copy the RTL. Other steps in resolving a finding. When submitting a resolution response, be prepared to respond to the reviewer's comments if any are posted. Monitor CMT regularly for feedback from program reviewers. The recent activity tab in CMT may be useful during the resolution period. Timelines for resolution. There are 3. Following the review dates, if there were any findings, then the resolution period begins. These dates are calculated beginning on the last day of the review, the review exit day. All days refer to calendar days. So we see from the slide that exists before us, The initial one is a 45 calendar day deadline. After that, we have the 45 days to a maximum of 225 days, 225 calendar days from the last day of the review. FPM Resources. The following slides detail a wealth of resources available about the FPM process and other ancillary material. The CD compliance monitoring webpage link and topics. Herein, information has been culled to provide general information about the FPM process, list of LEAs selected for the reviews, training material relevant to the FPM reviews, as well as a list of the instruments used by the programs during the FPM review and information about CMT. Contained within the wealth of resources available on the web page is also contact information to maintain healthy correspondences and fruitful correspondences, contact information, and additional federal and state monitoring. This other contact information may come in the form of the review team leaders' assignments, information about the programs participating in the FPM review processes, as well as County Office of Education monitoring leads, and their information is detailed on our website. This brings us to the end of our 2020-2021 Federal Program Monitoring Review presentation. If you have any questions, please present them to the respective review team lead who is associated with your review, or to our general FPM office. Thank you very much.